In this presentation, we're going to look at the application of contracting systems. Remember, only one contracting system can apply to every transaction. So only one contracting system to each transaction. However, for your purposes, the hard part is going to be determining which contracting system applies and in what circumstances. So I thought it would be helpful to look at a series of transactions and determine which contracting system applies to which transaction. Here's your fact pattern. Pete wants to open a grocery store in Stillwater, Oklahoma. And in conjunction with the construction and opening of his store, Pete's going to execute a number of contracts with different parties. Let's look at each of those contracts in turn. The first contract involves a land purchase. Pete's contracting to buy land on which to construct the store. The seller of the land is based in Dallas, Texas. Now, in this case, what contracting system applies? It'd be the common law. The common law governs contracts for real property. Pete then contracts with a French company, a company based in Paris, France, to actually build the building. This is a service contract, and therefore the common law will apply. The common law applies to all service contracts. Pete then goes looking for a logo. He's going to contract with a Canadian graphic design company to design the logo. Now, in this case, there's doubtlessly going to be some pieces of paper that are exchanged, but what we are really looking at, the subject matter of the contract, is the service of the provided by the graphic design company, and that therefore would be covered by the common law. Again, the common law. Pete purchases shelving for his store from Home Fixtures USA. Home Fixtures USA is based in Omaha, Nebraska. However, it's a wholly owned subsidiary of a company based in Stockholm, Sweden. Now, the CISG will cover the commercial sale of goods between companies whose relevant places of business are in different countries. The relevant place of business in this case, however, both of these are U.S. companies. Home Fixtures USA is the actual seller of the shelving. Therefore, this would be covered by the Uniform Commercial Code. The Uniform Commercial Code governs the sale of goods. Pete contracts with Mexico's largest construction firm to install the shelving. Again, this is a service contract. Anytime you see a construction contract, you can assume that it's a service contract. Pete wants to buy electronic signs to be used throughout the store, so he contracts with a company based in Shanghai, China for the signage. This is a commercial sale of goods between merchants who are based in different countries. Therefore, this would be covered by the CISG. Pete contracts with Midwest Groceries based in Wichita, Kansas for the fresh fruit he will sell in the store. Midwest Groceries obtains its oranges from Central American fruit based in Chile. In this case, again, we go to what is the relevant place of business. In this case, the relevant seller of the goods is Midwest Groceries based in Kansas. Therefore, this is a contract for the sale of goods. It is then governed by the Uniform Commercial Code. Now, the contract that Midwest signs with Central American Fruit is likely to be governed by the CISG. But for the purposes of this analysis, we're only looking at Pete's contracts, and therefore that would be covered by the Uniform Commercial Code. Pete contracts with Holopainen, a Finnish company, for the cash registers that will be used in the store. Holopainen is going to sell the registers as well as install them in the store. The total contract price is for $100,000. And of that amount, $20,000 will cover the price of the registers. Here we turn to that rule regarding predominant part. What is the predominant part of this contract? Well, based on the amounts, we can assume that the cash registers, the goods, are a relatively minor part of the contract. $80,000 of the contract would be dedicated to the price for installing them, and therefore that is a service contract. So even though there's a sale of goods is mixed into the contract, the fact is most of the contract is for installation services, and therefore this contract would be governed by the common law. Pete decides to build an apartment above his store where he will live, and in furnishing the apartment, he's going to order a new television set directly from Mitsubishi Electronics, based in Japan. Now, it looks like it would be an international sale of goods, but remember that the CISG only applies to the commercial sale of goods. This is a good that's going to be used for family or household purposes, and therefore it would fall outside of the CISG. It's simply a sale of goods, and a sale of goods would be covered by the Uniform Commercial Code. Pete contracts with Lloyd's of London, based in the UK, for the property insurance for his building and its inventory. This is an insurance contract, and insurance contracts are governed by the common law. Pete hires Jenny Kim as his first store manager. Although authorized to work in the U.S., Kim is a citizen of South Korea. This is an employment contract, and employment contracts are subject to the common law. The common law governs employment contracts. Pete decides to add a specialty food section to his store, and he's going to contract with a company based in Tel Aviv, Israel. This is a commercial sale of goods between companies whose relevant places of business are in different countries. Therefore, this is going to be covered by the CISG. So on your test, you'll see something very similar to this. You'll see a fact pattern, and I'll ask you what contracting system applies to each of the contracts. Remember those rules that we talked about, that the common law is going to govern services, employment, insurance, real estate. The Uniform Commercial Code, the UCC, will govern contracts for the sale of goods between companies who are in both in the U.S. or those goods that are not for commercial purposes. And the CISG will cover the commercial sale of goods between companies whose relevant places of business are in different countries. That's it. I hope this helps. Give me a call or send me an email if you have any questions.